Patrick Cook here. Hey, welcome to, where are we? Session 36. Welcome to session 36 of the Mastering Mandelbulb 3D Formulas tutorial series. Wow. Okay, look, we've come a long way here. We've come a long way. I mean, we talked about, early on, we talked about the formula slots. We talked about the formula categories. We've been talking about the last 10 sessions or so. We've been talking about the hybrid modes. We just kind of came around talking about the DEcombinate. We had talked about the interpolate, the alternate. Okay. I think you're getting the sense that you've got a lot of capability to create Mandelbulb fractal objects and to combine them. And not once so far have I modified any of the properties. Everything I've been calling up on the screen, I've left the properties alone. All right? Because that's just a whole nother level of modification capabilities that you have. Now, all right, so you got a lot of capabilities here. In an ultra-fast review, and these are tools that you want to figure out how to use and you want to practice using them. That's how you get great graphics. In the alternate hybrid mode, you've got up to 6 formulas, and each of those formulas can be an escape time, and you can even mix dIFS formulas to a limit. That doesn't always work, but it'll tell you in the error message when it doesn't work. All right, and then down below here, I'm in alternate mode now. All right, you've got the ability to set the number of times that a formula will iterate or cycle or run. All right, and you've got the number of times that a set will run. In alternate mode, a set is defined as all of the formula slots that have a formula assigned to it. So if you have formulas 1 through 4 that each have a formula assigned to them, your formula set or sequence is formulas 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. So, okay. Alternate hybrid mode, think of it as layering. You're layering. A bulb is created, written to the screen. Another bulb is created, written to the screen. Another bulb, depending upon the number of formulas that you formula slots that you have a formula assigned to them. Layering, okay? Now, in interpolate mode, the key thing to understand there is that you have 2 formulas and you get to decide the averaging or the weight of those 2 formulas. All right? The weight is not a percentage. All right? The weight is just a relative value. If you have a 1 and a 1, each formula will be executed and being given the same amount of preference or priority in terms of writing the result of that bulb to the screen. If you have 1 and 0.5, this has half the weight. If you had 10,000 and 5,000, this one has half the weight. So it's a relative value. So the key to understanding interpolate hybrid mode is that you're working with the weight of only 2 formulas. Now, DEcombinate is a little intimidating, but not once you understand its capabilities. All right, with DEcombinate, you've got two sets of formulas. Those sets are defined by this demarcation value up here. All right? And the whole concept behind the DEcombinate is it is doing a volumetric Boolean type of combination. So it's not an on-screen layering type thing. It's actually deep in the math, where they determine they create the fractal object in memory, okay, and create another fractal object in memory, and combine them, all right, and then write them out to the screen. In DEcombinate, you have to have at least two formulas defined because you have two sets. So in this scenario right here with a 2, formula set number 1, formula set number 2, you have to have at least two formulas, all right, because you have two sets, and you have to have a formula per set. So the key to understanding the power of DEcombinate is that you're working with two sets, and you can define the formulas that belong to each set with the demarcation value, and you get to decide the DEcombination methodology. It's a Boolean methodology where min will show everything on the screen. Even if it's combined, it'll show it all on the screen. Max will only show on the screen where the two objects intersect, and all the other pixels are thrown away. Inverse max will show where you're intersecting, where you're not intersecting. So the max will show intersecting. The inverse max will show where you're not intersecting. All right, and then the mix is only where the objects actually intersect with one another, and everything else is thrown away. All right, simple, right? Okay. Alternate hybrid mode is a layering. Interpolate hybrid mode is an averaging of two formulas. DEcombinate is a Boolean methodology of mixing two formulas, minimum of two formulas, and because there's two sets. All right, so it's a Boolean methodology. All right. Now, you can't run this thing with an an alternate hybrid and a interpolate. They just didn't design it to do that. You have to pick one of the hybrid modes. In my opinion, the most powerful hybrid mode that we have in this Mandelbulb3D application is, oh, you guessed it, DEcombinate. Primarily because you have the Boolean capabilities. You get to decide whether or not you're going to show all the objects. I'm talking about with this DEcom selection down here. All right, you get to decide if you're going to show all the objects on the screen, or if you're only going to show where they intersect, or the reverse of where they intersect. You get the point. And you have sets, and you can modify the iterations of the sets. All right, and you can use the DEcombinate for the escape time or the dIFS. That's also true with alternate hybrid mode. That's also true with interpolate. However, you can't mix escape time with dIFS most of the time in any hybrid mode. All right? All right, so there you go. So that was a 7-minute review of the hybrid modes, and that should put you in very, very good condition now to be able to more fully understand the tools that you're working with, but most important, get you in a position where you can leverage your tools fully across the entire application. In other words, you don't skip DEcombinate because you don't understand it. You do understand it, and you dive in there and you experiment with DEcombinate just as much as you might experiment with alternative hybrid mode. Don't let any of these topics intimidate you. Just dive in there and tweak them out. And the worst that could happen is that you get a very ugly rendering like I had a couple sessions ago, and then you say, oh, what do I do about it? And we talked about that. And I left you with the whole idea of build your creation. Don't throw everything at it. Don't just try any old thing to see what happens. You're just going to burn up an awful lot of rubber doing that. Just build it. Start with something that looks good, add something to it. If that new formula doesn't really play out nicely, take it back out again. Save periodically. Anticipate that the Mandelbulb3D application will crash on you. You'll lose your work. Well, we talked about that in tutorial series number 1. All right, I'm way over time on this one. Let's end this session, and I think what I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to pack everything up. I'm going to stop working for the day, and we're going to do some more sessions, and I want to get you to a point where we can actually kind of walk through the creation of something meaningful. And the other thing I want to do at some point too is I want to take other people's work. I want to load it in here, and I want you and I to sit here and poke through those formulas and their properties and see what they did, and see why is it that they got such a beautiful graphic, and I'm just getting a big blob of nothing. So yeah, we want to take a look at other people's work and see what they're doing that we could replicate and learn from. Okay? So we got some more work to do yet. We're not done yet. But I think we've made a lot of good progress. And on that positive note, I'm going to shut the operation down for the day. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.